He didn't go pay lobola. He went and fixed his mother's kitchen.
That's the part that I wanted to talk about. Listen, the spell was real, you know.
It was real.
So,
I was not gonna have the cesarean section. I mean, I was just gonna get the baby. That's it. And I was gonna give birth naturally.
greetings, my family. My name is Litelu. I am a son in the house, a son of Apostle Alf Lukau and Bishop Celeste Lukau. Today I am here really in a privileged position with my wife to glorify God and to give Him praise for what He's been doing in our lives. I'll give an opportunity for my wife to introduce herself.
Hi, AMI family. My name is Rambuda, a daughter at AMI also. Maybe just to honor our parents, I would love to honor Dad and Mom. We love you so much and we thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mom and Dad. Thank you. We appreciate who you are to us. We bless God for granting us blueprints of what it means to be children of God and to walk with God. Your journey inspires us and we look to you because we know that God is using you mightily to build what we call the Alf Lukau generation, and we're happy to be part of that incredible journey.
In the beautiful tapestry of life, love is often woven with threads of joy, laughter and hope. Lucky and Azwi, newlyweds and deeply in love, stood at the threshold of their forever, dreaming of a future filled with laughter and the sound of little feet. Their home, a sanctuary of precious memories, filled with photographs capturing stolen kisses, whispered promises, and the sweet moments of their union. But life, in its unpredictability, holds unexpected turns. In the midst of their bliss, a shadow began to loom, a heartbreaking realization that the joyful news they so deeply longed for continued to evade them, and the hope of hearing a child's laughter slowly faded. Let us hear their testimony.
So family, I think the core thing for us was just to reflect on our journey with AMI. So we've been in AMI now for 6 years and counting. It's been an amazing journey, a journey of restoration. When we came to AMI, I think I need to go a step back. Just our encounter with AMI, it was absolutely divine orchestrated. So my wife often talks about God as the divine orchestrator of note, and just reflecting on our journey, it was essentially that. I remember my son Litelu was about 2 months old, and I was really gearing to travel abroad on business, and my wife had to be with my mother, and my mother, being a prayer woman, she insisted as she arrived that no, we're going to play Christian television. And in that, we had an opportunity to encounter, AMI on Soweto TV, where we got to see basically the men of God. So my wife and my mom got so hooked to, seeing the work of God and the move of God through the Apostle Alf Lukau, and that basically was the beginning of something absolutely amazing. And lo and behold, our lives, got to be transformed by just an encounter that my wife had one day, watching, AMI on a Sunday. I remember that Sunday in August, she's watching, and the man of God basically speaks and says, "There is a woman, you're watching me." And, talks about exactly what my wife was going through, that, they have put a spell, and they've put this thing, this scent that you have. And true to what the man of God was saying, whenever she would wear my jacket, whether for 2 minutes or whatever, that scent would remain. It was a distinctive scent that I had made peace with it, as well as a person to say, people have their own scents, but the man of God described this scent to say they have put this because they don't want you to get married. It's something that people had done back home.
There is a woman, I don't know how to put this, but I'm seeing your prayer request is, Lord, I can't stay in a relationship. And the reason why you cannot stay in the relationship, because there is a smell that you are fighting. There is a smell that you are fighting, and this smell is persisting. You have tried it all. know that you are not clean. The Lord is saying a spell has been released against you, and He wants us to break it now. The persistent smell that keeps on chasing every man away from you leaves you to...
The week before, my wife had an encounter at work because she's in the entertainment space, and of course, you know, they changed clothes quite a bit. And a lady there who was actually a Sangoma working there, she actually confirmed that on a Thursday leading to this time where the man of God spoke to my wife, you know, to say, you know, you make us work so hard, you know, because every time you wear something, we have to wash it. Every time we wear something, you have to wash it. And, you know, and she said, no, they have done something on you. You must go back home to get them to remove it, you know, get somebody to remove it, you know. And it was interesting that it's a Sangoma actually, you know, talking to that. So I want to give my wife an opportunity just to talk about just that experience.
Yes, it was like we were watching at home, right? And then he just goes, there's a woman, you're watching me, there's this spell on you or not. And then I was like, okay, how does he know me? Man of God, like I've just started watching him, I don't know him, he doesn't know me. And then just going to work and the lady saying the same thing again, exactly what the man of God had said, to say there's a spell on you. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, this is a real thing. Now finding out that it's gone, it was the same lady again who said to me, what did you do? Did you do something? After the man of God had prayed, of course. And then she was like, did you go somewhere? I was like, yeah, a pastor prayed for me. But like I didn't go into details that I was watching it live and then she was like, whatever it is that you did, go back, prayer works, right? The same Sangoma. So yeah, she was like, it's gone, it's out, we don't have to struggle anymore. And few years later, we, you know, happened to get married. Right? Yeah.
And just to go a step back, you know, so this is on a Thursday, right? The Sangoma says this to her, there's something, they've done something to you. The Sunday, the man of God speaks to her on YouTube. She's watching YouTube, this is even pre-COVID, right? On a Monday, when she goes back to work, she says, surprise, you know, what has happened? That thing that I spoke to you about on Thursday, it's gone. Yeah. And true to it, I mean, today, it's 6 years later, you know, she can wear my jackets as many times as she wants. That thing is completely gone. And for us, when I mentioned that God is an orchestrator of note, this for me was God using my mom, right, to come to our house. You know, we watch AMI, we get hooked to AMI, she watches, and, you know, God uses the man of God to pray for her, and this leaves. So, I mean, this was our beginning, and where I really saw that the God I've always been hearing about, you know, growing up in Christendom, you know, we grew up, you know, hearing about this God, but not really getting to encounter and experiencing Him. So this was something that we knew about, and really, to be honest with you, when you look at how long this process had been, and I asked even my wife's mother to say how long had she had this, and it was over 30 years. 30 years of really having that scent. You know, and, you know, men of God praying, not even laying hands on her, and that thing completely leaving. And it was interesting that during this time, it was a time where we had a few years before our son was born, had gone for lobola and stuff like that. And, you know, to really indicate that whatever they had done was working. I remember when we went for lobola, and I went very prepared. You know, as a young man, you prepare to say, you know, I'm marrying into a royal family. I can't come there, like, competition is very tight, of course, you know. They would want her to get married to a royal and all kinds of stuff. So I had to prepare, you know. So I prepared, you know, money ready to say, whatever price they would say, I will just put it there, you know. I'll give it, you know. So, of course, before we went for lobola, we made arrangements and all that stuff, you know. But the night before we go, I got so sick, and I was wondering what's happening, you know. And on top of that, we learned that, you know, my cousin had passed away, and he didn't have the necessary resources to be able to, you know, for the burials and so forth. So I found myself in a very tight corner, where I had to now decide that half of my lobola money now has to go to bury my cousin. I'd say the devil is a liar, you know. And then on the other hand, now what I wanted to do to make history, I couldn't make history because whatever spell at home there in Venda, and it was working. And here we're not talking about vendor, we're talking deep rural vendor. You know, this is the royal family. You know what happens in a lot of our royal families. And so when men of God brought this to light, you know, to say there is something that they had done, I then understood that there was this resistance. And I remember telling the family when we went, because I had to now pay it in part, you know, that we'll be back exactly in a month's time. Because I knew that all my plans were working well, business was going well. Geez, I tell you, you know, the moment, a month later, everything just went really haywire. You know, business going bad, deals going bad. Losing everything, losing my business, losing my cars, like literally losing business. To a point that we literally, I found myself from a person who had a whole floor of a building, my office was there, well furnished and all that, losing all of that, to now working in coffee shops and so forth.
At home.
Working at home. It was quite a challenging time, you know. I almost became like Job, you know, when Job lost everything overnight. That was basically my experience. And when the men of God talked about this, then it all started making sense. I understood that there was something spiritual that was actually preventing something good that God wanted to do, you know, in our lives, you know. And it took us almost 2 years to actually now pay the lobola, from a month to 2 years of struggle and, you know, trying to do it. But we understood that once the men of God had prayed, that something had shifted.
Sometimes you have a problem, but you don't know that you have a problem. Like you're experiencing things, but you don't really know where it's stemming from, right? So with the men of God saying, no, actually there is a spell. That for me was, okay, there's this problem. Then the men of God just like literally said, oh, actually this is where the problem started from. And from there, you're like, aha, now I understand. I see why now I was so shy. I see why now I had like low self-esteem. I see why now I was so scared of driving. Trust me, it took me forever to get a driver's license because I was so scared of driving. And I don't even know why I was so scared. I'd be like, yo, I'm not going to be able to get in a car. People will drive me. That's pretty much what I used to say. Now I understand why, like, in as much as I was acting, I was still having a whole lot of self-esteem still. Like, I would be hiding type of thing. Like, yes, I was always hiding. And I realized, no, actually, it was that thing. The not getting married situation as well. Like, I would meet a person and then all of a sudden they just repel and they don't want to be with me anymore.
I think I must add there, I must add just to demonstrate that, I mean, this thing was real, right? You know, it's almost like I knew her capacity, her capabilities. I knew she was capable of, you know, but she sort of always was boxing herself, and she was not really living to her full capacity or potential. It was like there was a veil or something that causes her star not to shine. You know, that was just upon her. And talking about the marriage scenario, I mean, before we got together, somebody had proposed to her, was supposed to,
proposed,
but
then again, he didn't go pay lobola. He went and fixed his mother's kitchen.
That's the part that I wanted to talk about. The spell was real, you know.
It was real.
So the guy went to go get a loan, you know, for the lobola. I'm grateful that it didn't happen, because I would not be here today. But he said, instead of now taking this lobola money to go pay lobola, the guy went to now change his mom's kitchen units, you know, remove the kitchen and put a new kitchen. You know.
Well, it was not funny then. Now it's funny because, you know we understand God is an orchestrator. Right?
So this thing was real, you know, it was absolutely real. But the moment this moved, it shifted, we just saw her just moving, everything just moved. There was this ease that just, you know, it was like effata, you know, the doors were just open.
They were locked, and the next thing, everything just opened up.
Oh, isn't this a beautiful testimony? On the sacred grounds of Litelu Ministries International on July 1, 2018, as we joined the online Sunday service, what once seemed like a boundless journey of love now led them down a path of deep sorrow and unanswered questions. In the silence, they searched for hope, for meaning, and for a miracle that always seemed just beyond their reach. Despite her stunning beauty, Azwi had faced rejection in her acting career, often overlooked for roles due to this unfortunate issue. But that day marked a turning point. as she embraced the blessings that followed. Let us hear their testimony as it continues.